but me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Louie Tee live divisional breakdown series. We're previewing and predicting the 2018 overall records for each team in every division. We've knocked down 6 of the divisions, both divisions in the East, South, and North. Now we're going to cap it off by breaking down both West divisions. And we'll start with the NFC West here on the program tonight. This, I'm going to admit this right now out in front. This is the division, out of all 8 of the divisions, this is the one that I am not as confident about. I don't feel as confident in my predictions for this particular division. Here's why. The Rams are the clear-cut favorite for most. However, I'm not necessarily buying what the Rams are selling. They've been pushing off this narrative of, hey, we're pushing all our chips to the center of the table. They've done a lot of good things in the offseason. Went out and got Aqib Talib. Went out and got Ndamukong Suh. They've done some things to revamp their football team the way it looks. They've re-signed a bunch of guys, structured, gave Todd Gurley some new money. They've cleaned up a number of areas that were, I guess you could call them weak spots a season ago. They look like a team that's poised to make a run, but they handled this offseason, in more specifically the preseason, way too casually for me. They seem like they've arrived, and I'm not really all that impressed with what I've seen from them. And so I'm not sure if the Rams, because again, I always say this. I know the teams that are going to be good year in and year out. The ones that we can count on, if they're healthy, if their best player is healthy, they're going to be good every year. We know those teams. There are about 4 or 5 of those in the league. But then everybody else is kind of chasing that consistency. And when you're good one year, it doesn't carry over to the next necessarily. You know, we've seen teams go 11-5, 10-6, win their division, and then the next year fall flat on their face and go 6-10, 5-11, 7-9. Are the Rams one of those teams, or are they going to be good for a while? They're young. They've got a lot of good players in the right spots to be good for a really long time. Got a really good head coach, a young head coach that I believe in. Know him very well. So I think I should be able to jump on board comfortably with the Rams, but I'm not sure. Okay, what happens when you become the man, when you become the guy, when you become the team? And that's what the Rams are in the NFC West right now. They're the team. They won it last year, and the league kind of put their arms around the Rams and said, oh, man, you're a feel-good story. Now, how do you handle all of that success? People are going to actually come to the games in L.A. and fill up the stadium. How do they handle that? All of the things that come with being a good team, and you're supposed to be good, the expectations. I'm not sure if they're going to handle it all that well. Then I look at the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm like, dude, you look like you're poised for a really bad season. Like, I look at your team, and I look at the way it's constructed, and I'm like, you're one Sam Bradford injury away from putting in Josh Rosen, who I really like. But you're one Josh Rosen injury away from putting in who? Matt Barkley? Is that who's in Arizona? Yikes. I mean, we could be there because you got 2 injury-prone quarterbacks. So I'm nervous about Arizona. But you know what I think I'm doing with Arizona? And I'm going to tell you right up front. I don't believe in my prediction for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't believe in that. That's if you ask me what's the one prediction for the teams that you've done that you don't believe in, it's the Arizona. I honestly don't believe what I'm going to tell you my prediction is for them. They're going to be a lot better than what I give them credit for, but that's why I hate doing predictions, because you got to give somebody a loss and somebody a win. And it's not that cut and dry, but I don't believe in it. And I think what I'm really doing, what it amounts to, is I'm disrespecting David Johnson. I didn't see him all last year. Out of sight, out of mind. What have you done for me lately? I'm disrespecting David Johnson and what this man actually brings to the table and what he means to the Arizona Cardinals. Shame on me. I'm disrespecting that man. I know I am. And then finally the 49ers. God damn it, the Jimmy G hype is legit, man. I like this guy. I like that team. But they're not good enough to win games yet. But they could be, but they're not. So this division is wacky. And Seattle, I think Seattle's hit their peak. They're on a downward spiral. They're no longer a feared team in league circles. You can go to Seattle and win. Remember when you couldn't go to Seattle and win? Remember that? Remember, oh shit, we got to go to Seattle. Remember those days? Them days are over, man. F Seattle's 12th man. F CenturyLink. Go in there and get us a dub. Hell, everybody's doing it now. So, I don't even know what to make of Seattle no more, man. I look at those, I don't even know those dudes no more, man. I don't even know those guys. So, this division is up for grabs, and it's anybody's guess as to what the hell is going to happen. I can't tell you. Don't ask me, because I don't know. But, what's going on? It's your man, Louie Tee. Let's get to these breakdowns and talk about the NFC West and what we think is going to happen for each and every single team in this division. We start, obviously, with the team that won the division last year, that being the Los Angeles Rams. Let's take a look at their schedule, and let's get into their breakdown. So, Rams, I look at this team, and I say, why not? Why not the Rams again? Right? But they could easily fall flat on their face. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You know, all of these moves that they've made, seemingly to make them a better football team, could easily blow up in their face. Okay? We'll see. We will see. They better, I know this much, they better hurry up and get that Aaron Donald deal done. Never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. They better get that shit done ASAP. Okay? Because Aaron, just like Khalil Mack, not playing with their ass. He will sit out games. He did it last year, missed the first game of the season. He will sit out games on their ass. He is not playing. Both of those guys have a gripe. They're the best players, or among the best players. In Aaron Donald's case, he's the best at his respective position. In the case of Khalil Mack, you could argue he's the best at his respective position. There are other guys who are right up there in that same category with him, but both of these guys deserve to be paid, and paid handsomely. Like we saw Aaron Rodgers get broken off this yesterday. And so much for all of you out there that was talking that nonsense. Likely Phenomenon talking that garbage. My man Nick Riley, Nick at Night, spewing that garbage yesterday, talking about Aaron Rodgers not going to get paid. Are you crazy? Y'all need to go home, look in the mirror, turn on your faucet, and wash your face and get your mind right if you thought Aaron Rodgers won't stay in Green Bay. Anyway, let's get to this Rams schedule. At Oakland, week 1, doubleheader on Monday night, the second of those 2 games. Normally, nobody watches this game. If you're a diehard football fan, you stay up late till 2 o'clock in the morning and watch that game. Most of you will be tucked away in your 90s and your jammies, and you'll be sound asleep with your teddy bear and your thumb in your mouth. I'll be watching this game, ready to break it down, and the Rams will take care of business on the road versus the Raiders. As a matter of fact, they'll take care of their first 3 opponents, Raiders, Cardinals, and Chargers, all in successive order to start the season off 3-0. But then that's when shit gets real, okay? After those first 3 wins of the season, to start off 3-0, everybody thinking, hey, Rams are picking right up where they left off last regular season. Not so fast, okay? They lose the next 4 games straight, okay? After starting 3-0, they're now 3-4. They lose at home to Minnesota, the team that probably made them look the worst last year. It was in Minnesota last year. I don't care. Minnesota has the defense and the kryptonite for this Rams football team. I think they're going to go into Los Angeles and do it again. So then you look at Seattle, at Seattle. What they did to Seattle last year in Seattle, that is in 46 states illegal. And you will be sentenced to the death penalty if you commit that kind of crime in somebody else's house, okay? What they did to those boys on a fateful afternoon in December, that was nothing short of murder, okay? And I think Seattle understands that they can't show up at home anymore They don't have that luxury to just show up and get dubs at the crib anymore. They actually got to play. And I think they'll be much better this time around at the crib versus these Rams. These Rams aren't playing around. They understand that. So they'll take them down. That's the second loss in a row. Then they go to Denver. Okay, after going to Seattle and losing, then you go to Denver. And that defense, I think, is going to make Jared Goff uncomfortable. You know, they can get to the quarterback. They can pressure. And I think that's going to force Jared Goff into some mistakes. If that Broncos defense can stop the run consistently, and I've got my doubts about that, but if they can stop the run consistently, they're going to win that game, are the Denver Broncos. And so that's your third straight loss there. And yes, you can get pressure on Case Keenum. But Case Keenum, unlike Jared Goff, he can manipulate the pocket, get out, escape, and create off schedule. And I think that's what's going to help Denver secure the victory there. And then you go to San Francisco on a Sunday night. The 49ers will be ready. They will be primed, rocking, and ready to go. And guess what? They're going to win that football game, are the 49ers. So 4 straight losses for the for the Los Angeles Rams. After that, they get a win, a big one and a much-needed one, okay, against the Green Bay Packers at home. They have to have that one to stop the slide, and they get it, to get back to 500 at 4-4. Then they lose the following week at New Orleans. Tough place to play. Don't want to get into a shootout with those guys, all right? You were able to beat them last year, but that was at home. Different environment, different team, different result. Rams are going to lose that game at New Orleans. But then you come back the next 2 weeks going into your bye. You beat Seattle. Make sure you split that season series. They got you at their house. Now you got to get them at yours. And then you get Kansas City on a Monday night in Mexico, okay? In Mexico, I expect you to take care of business there as well, which gets you to your bye week at 6-5. So right now, Rams are right in the middle of the pack in this division, and no one's pulled away. The Rams are right there along with all the other teams in the division. It's up for grabs at this point. Then the Rams go look themselves in the mirror in the bye week, come back and play inspired football. They get hot. I mean real hot, to the tune of 5 straight wins, which means they don't lose another game the rest of the regular season. They win at Detroit coming off the bye. They win at Chicago. And then they go home for Philly on a Sunday night. Huge game in which they beat the Eagles. Remember, this was a shootout last year in which Carson Wentz got injured, but the Eagles were able to outlast the Rams. I don't see that happening this time. I see the Rams taking care of business versus the defending Super Bowl champions and winning that game. Then they go on the road at Arizona and win there as well. So this team gets hot on the road. And I just told you, 3 out of the next 4 games coming out of the bye, all on the road. So all of a sudden, the Rams turn into road warriors because they played a bunch of home games prior to the bye. And then they go home to finish up the season against San Francisco, a place where they are a team against they lost earlier in the season. They're looking for a little bit of revenge there. They get it at home, week 17, and finish up the season at 11-5. Do the Los Angeles Rams. So 11-5 with a 4-2 mark in the division. And so that seems eerily similar to last year's record. And that's where I see them finishing in 2018. So we'll go ahead, put the Rams down for 11-5. Put them down for 4-2 in the division. And we'll keep the party going. Let's go to the next team in this division, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. They finished second in this division last year at 9-7. What do they have for an encore? So last year, I thought the Seahawks were going to find a way to win the division. All year long, I kept saying they're going to find a way to win this division. And I was believing it up until the CenturyLink massacre. That's when I said, oh, shit, they're not winning this division. I still believed up until that game. And looking at this team and all the changes made, no more Michael Bennett, no more Dick Sherman, no more Cam Chancellor. I don't know if Earl Thomas will be back, you know, and playing inspired football. I don't know what to make of this team anymore defensively. I don't know those guys anymore. Offensively, still some question marks. but I think they're trying to resolve some of the issues on the offensive side of the football. Still got a problem with their offensive line. Still don't think they addressed that well enough. But I think they might have something at the running back position, even though they may have reached a little early for it. They still might have something at running back now. If they can stay healthy, Chris Carson coming back. You still got C.J. Procise. Now you add in Rashad Penny. I think they've got some help for Russell Wilson in the backfield. So you feel good about that. Angry Bird dealing with some injuries. They're hoping he'll be ready for week 1. He's never missed a game, so you're expecting him to play. You look at the way that they're set up. No more Jimmy Graham. We'll see what this offense looks like. Again, I don't know this team. Sheldon Richardson, 1-year experiment. He's gone. Let's see what's going on in Seattle. So week 1 at Denver. I think they're going to go to Denver, and I think they're going to win that football game. Week 2, I think they're going to lose at Chicago on Monday night. Chicago's going to be amped. They're going to fall short in week 1 versus Green Bay. I think they're going to come home hungry. This is their last primetime game of the season, so they're going to want to get it at the crib, and I think they're going to do that against the Seattle Seahawks. So then the Seahawks come home for Dallas, and I remember when CenturyLink used to be sacred. The Cowboys went in there, I want to say it was 3 years ago, 2015. Or it was 2014. That was the year that the Cowboys went off with DeMarco Murray. And Tony Romo took those boys into CenturyLink. Remember, in 2014, CenturyLink was hollow, sacred ground. You couldn't go in there and get a dub. And the Cowboys went in there early in the season. I want to say it was week 2 or 3. And they went in there and they beat the Seahawks. And I said, wow, that was impressive. Dallas isn't afraid. No one is afraid to go into CenturyLink anymore if it's not a primetime game. Cowboys are going to go in there. They're going to run the football. And they're going to beat the Seattle Seahawks again. And so, and remember, they struggle with Dallas. Home, away, it doesn't matter. They should have lost to a Dallas team in, what was it, 2016 that was led by Matt Castle, I believe? Where they beat them with field goals or something. It was a really ugly game. The last couple games between these two have been ugly in Dallas. This one is going to be ugly in CenturyLink, and I think Dallas is going to come out on top. But then after that loss, you reel off 3 straight going into your bye week. You beat Arizona in Arizona. You beat the Rams at home. And you beat Oakland at Oakland. And so that takes you into your bye week at 4-2. So you feel good about the start to the season. But I'm telling you, it's a facade. You know, you're not going to be one of these teams that goes, 11-5, 12-4. Those days are over for Seattle right now. All right. So you come out of the bye, you're feeling good about yourself, you're beating your chest, you're 4-2, and then you proceed to lose 5 straight games coming out off the bye. At Detroit, you lose that game. Home for the Chargers. They get after Russell Wilson, and we know any team that can pressure Russell Wilson, like Jacksonville did last year, like we've watched the Rams do for years, they give Russell Wilson fits. The teams that can get up the field and pressure Russell Wilson give him problems. Well, that's what the Chargers can do. They have arguably the best pass rush in all of football. They're going to get after Russell Wilson. They're going to win that football game. Then you see your arch nemesis in the Rams. At L.A., you're going to lose that football game as well. Then you got Green Bay coming into your building on Thursday Night Football. That should be a win because it's a primetime game at CenturyLink, which is so tough to get done. But Aaron Rodgers is one of those dudes that supersedes all of the extra nonsense. He can go in there, take his team, and help them win. And with this newfound money of his, he's going to be feeling really good and feeling like blazing somebody, and it's going to be the Seahawks on a Thursday night. So you take an L there. And then the following week at Carolina, remember when that used to be a marquee matchup? Panthers and Seahawks, mouth was drooling. We were waiting for that game. No one gives a shit about that game anymore, except for those two respective fan bases. Nonetheless, Carolina takes care of business at home there as well. And so what was once 4-2 is now 4-7, okay? So to save face, you've got to get hot, and you do that late in the season, winning just to save Pete Carroll's job, to make sure Petey's not on the hot seat. Because if this thing goes south, and you finish up the season losing, let's call it 8 out of your final 9, Petey's going to be in trouble. So to save face and to make sure Petey's not in trouble, you'll win 4 out of your final 5 games. You beat San Francisco at home. You beat Minnesota on a Monday night. You lose to the 49ers, okay, at San Francisco, but you come back, you beat Kansas City at home on a Sunday night, and then you beat the Arizona Cardinals to finish up the season and finish up a season sweep versus the Cardinals to get to 8-8 on the season, 4-2 in the division. I'm not high on the Seahawks this year. They've got to prove me wrong. I look at the Seahawks and I say, I don't know you anymore. You gotta re-earn my trust. Right now, I'm not feeling the Seattle Seahawks, and the record kind of is indicative of the way I feel about Seattle right now. They're a 500 team for me right now, and until they prove otherwise, I think Seattle, and it's a tough schedule too. That doesn't help. So we'll see what Seattle's able to do this year. Let's get to the next team in the division, that being the Arizona Cardinals. All right, so I'm going to apologize right now. If you're a Cardinals fan out there, I'm going to apologize to you right now because I don't honestly believe this. I don't believe what I'm about to tell you, and I'm disrespecting David Johnson. David Johnson himself is probably good for at least 3 or 4 wins. You went 8-8 without this man last year, okay? He's back. So that should be, and now you got a different schedule, okay? You're not playing the Little Sisters of the Poor this year like you were last year. You know, you're not playing Jacksonville and Tennessee and Indianapolis with what's the damn quarterback name from NC State? Y'all know who the hell I'm talking about. Jacoby Brissett. You're not playing those guys, okay? You're not playing the Houston Texans with Nacho Man Tommy Savage, okay? You don't get bums this year. You got some real hitters, some heavy hitters on the schedule. So you don't get to play those. So that's why you went 8-8 without David Johnson, because you had a soft schedule last year. That's not the case this year. So, but I'm still disrespecting Dave, and I don't like that. But what I'm really disrespecting is your quarterback position, because you got 2 injury-prone dudes back there, and if Sam goes down, it could be 2 weeks later, and Sam's done for the year, and then you turn around, and Josh is done for the next 6 weeks. And all of a sudden, you counting on Matt Barkley to get you through. I'm not counting that into my equation here. I didn't think you were gonna be very good. But this is disrespectful right here. So I said all of that as a disclaimer for what's to come. And I don't believe what I'm telling you. So don't hold me to this. You're gonna win way more games than this. But this is why I hate putting down wins and losses on paper, because this is what happens to certain teams. And it's disrespectful. But that being said, I'm just going to run through this quickly. I don't even need to explain to you, because I don't believe half of what I'm saying. So I'm not going to even explain this to you. I got you beating the Redskins in week 1. After that win, I got you losing the next 5 weeks. At the Rams, home for Chicago. Yeah, you can beat Chicago. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is crazy, right? I got you losing to Chicago at home. You should be able to win that game, but I don't know. Home for Seattle, got you losing that game, got you getting swept by Seattle. You probably think, I'm going to beat those guys at least once, if not both times. I hear you. Anyway, at San Francisco, that's a very winnable game. Different San Francisco 49ers team now. But anyway, got you losing that game, got you losing at Minnesota, which I don't feel bad about. And I got you finally getting off the schneid after the 5-game losing streak at home versus Denver on a Thursday night, where you finally break that streak, get your second win of the season. Then you win against San Francisco. Going into your bye week, you're 3-5 at the bye with 2 straight wins. Maybe you could come off the bye and make some noise and right the ship. Hell, that's what Seattle did after losing 5 straight. They won 4 out of 5 to finish up the season. Maybe you could get hot, right? Right? Wrong. You come off the bye and you proceed to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of your final 8 games. You lose to Kansas City on the road. You beat Oakland in week number 11. And after that win versus the Raiders in Oakland, you don't win another game the rest of the season. You lose. You got a tough schedule. Again, at the Chargers, you lose that game. At Green Bay, you lose that game. Those are tough games. Home for Detroit, that's a winnable matchup. That's a game you can win, right? But I got you losing that game. At Atlanta, that's a winnable game, right? You can win that game, but I got you losing that game. That's a tough roadie. Home for the Rams. You can win that game. It's home for the Rams. That's the crib. That's family business. You can win that game, right? Yeah, you can, but I don't have you winning that game. And then at Seattle, that's a toughie. But if anybody can go into Seattle and win, it's you. You've been doing it for years. Even when they were good. With Carson Palmer, you would go in there and win all the time. So, again, this disrespect is it's unacceptable. So, if you're upset at me, you should be. I've got you going 4-12. That's not legit, man. You're more of an 8-8, 9-7 team. But again, when you're asking me to put it down on paper, hard for me to fix my hand to go W when my head is saying L, okay? So just know that with my most sincerest apology, I give out this 4-12. I don't believe this, okay? Of all of the records that I've given out that have sounded crazy, like I had the Bucks fans coming at my neck for 2-14. Great, you should be coming after me. You shouldn't believe your team is going 2-14. I believe that they can be that bad. I don't believe you're a 4-12 team. I don't. So kill me, I'll allow it. So let's fill in the record for the Cardinals at 4-12. That's a real funky number, man. So I understand if you're not feeling me right now. I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not mad. But I got you at 4-12, 1-5 in the division. Ouch. You're going to win more than one division game, right? Right. So, anyway, let's wrap this thing up and get to the final team in the division, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. All right. So, this is a team that I'm excited to see. The entire league is excited to see. By virtue of their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 primetime games, okay? The league is excited. The league thinks that you have a realistic shot at being good. And I think the hype is legit, but I don't think you're ready to match the hype, if that makes any sense. Like, I think this team, I think Jimmy G is really good. And I think this team has the talent to be good. They got some pieces that they're missing. They still got to fill in some blanks. But this team is ready to be really competitive and threaten to do some things. But they're not right there yet. They're not quite at the level they need to be at to take that threat and turn it into a reality. Okay? They're going to scare the hell out of some teams. I mean, really scare some teams. But they're not going to win enough games to make the NFL's promise of a good 49ers team come to fruition. But let's get into the schedule. So I've got them losing week 1 at Minnesota. Duh, right? All right, but they come home the following week versus Detroit and get a dub. Okay? Get off the schneid nice and early. Remember, it took them until like week 9 to get off the schneid last year. Let's not do that this year. You know, let's not wait till week 8 or 7 or whenever it was to get your first win. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way nice and early. They do that in week 2 this year. But then after that, they lose 2 straight at Kansas City, at the Chargers. 2 tough games on the road in the NFC West, or excuse me, AFC West. But after that, you come home for Arizona. You take care of business. Another win in the division. So that gets you to 2-3 on the season. You then lose on Monday night the following week at Green Bay. That's just tough. It just is what it is. It's tough. So then you come back the following week and they give you a home primetime game on Sunday Night Football versus the Rams, in which you take care of business. The following week you go to Arizona and you lose to the Arizona Cardinals. The one win the Cardinals have in the division comes off of you. Shame. So the following week, after you lose to Arizona, you come home for Oakland. Please, no one gets shot in the crowd, in the parking lot. Let's be civil. I know that Bay Area rivalry can get really nasty at times. Come on, guys. Behave yourselves, please. I'm begging you. No casualties, all right? No fatalities. I don't want to hear about this on Real Sports in 3 months about how someone had to be carted off on a stretcher because he was beat senselessly because the 49ers won this game and Raiders fans were upset, or vice versa. Okay? Come on, guys. Behave yourself. Anyway, you take care of business on Thursday Night Football versus the Raiders. You beat the Giants the following week on Monday Night Football. So you've already been on primetime 4 times in 5 weeks. Yikes. So you go on your bye week, you're 5-5. Look at that. Y'all look alive. The 49ers are 5-5. So you come out of the bye week and you lose 2 straight. So much for looking alive and being 5-5. You're now 5-7. You lose at Tampa. Come on, you can't lose to Tampa. No, don't do that. You did it. And then you double down on that loss and lose at Seattle on Sunday Night Football the following week. You try to calm the tide by winning the next 2 at home in 2 straight weeks versus Denver and Seattle. Take care of business. But then you fall, and that's 7-7. You've got a shot. But because you're a young team and you don't know how to get it done quite yet, you're not ready yet, you dropped the last 2. You can't lose at Tampa and home to Chicago and think you're really serious. But that's what you did. You drop it to Chicago late in the season, and then the next week you go on the road at Los Angeles, and you lose that game as well. So 7-9 for the San Francisco 49ers, 3-3 in the division, and thus my NFC West predictions are complete. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and I'm going to let you guys have the floor. You know the rules to the game. For those of you who don't, let me explain them quickly. This is how this goes. You've got 3 ways to contact the show. You can go and hit me up on the phone lines, and there's the phone line. That's number 1. That's first in the pecking order. You call in, you get through, you talk. You don't want to call in? That's quite all right by me. The next way to hit me up is through Twitter. Above me is the hashtag LabRoomFam. Hit me up at In the Lab Room. Use that hashtag LabRoomFam. I will read your comment. You will jump to the front of the line. Over the third choice, which is on the YouTube chat discussion, use the hashtag Louie Tee Live to have your comment read there. So, with that order of business out of the way, let's get to the comment section. Let's check Twitter first. I know there's nothing there, but I'll check it anyway. Do my due diligence, and then we'll get to, yep, nothing here. So let's get to the phone call. Got a call? I'm going to take it. You're on live with your man, Louie Tee. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Rob.
What's going on, Rob? Repeat caller from yesterday. What's going on?
Yes. The Seahawks fan.
Talk to me about your Seahawks. We talked briefly yesterday about the Seahawks. Talk to me about this division in general. Talk to me about what you think each team is going to do. And then specifically, talk to me about your Seahawks and why my 8-8 isn't good enough for your Seahawks in 2018.
Yeah, I have the Rams going 10-6.
Okay.
Seahawks 9-7.
Okay.
San Francisco 8-8.
Right.
And Arizona 5-11.
Okay, so I don't feel as bad. This is coming from a Seahawks fan. So this is a guy that is very intimate with the family business of the NFC West, and he's got Seattle or Arizona not being as good this season too. So I don't feel as bad. You make me feel a lot better, and my predictions aren't that far off. I'm off a game. I've got the Rams winning an extra game. I've got the Seahawks winning 1 game less. So we're not that far apart. We're pretty close in our assessment of this division. So talk to me about the Seahawks. How do you feel about your team going into the 2018 season? Your strengths, your weaknesses, and what can this team do to overachieve in your mind?
Well, first thing I want to say that, you know, I was almost ready to jump you a little bit on just your disrespect of Russell Wilson being a so-so quarterback. You know, not yesterday, but a couple of days ago, you know, you said that Luck was a winner all the times that he was playing. And so I was like, you know, Russell Wilson hasn't lost yet during it. So I was just really kind of getting ready to jump on you about that a little bit. But as I can see, you win it, so I'm not necessarily disappointed in that part. And one thing I wanted to say that Shaquem Griffin is probably going to start during the Denver game because KJ Wright will not be available that game.
Wow.
So that'll be something.
That's amazing.
So I think he is set to start so far. You know, it might change between now and then, but
wow,
that's how it's going right now.
Okay, that'll be a scene. Him and his brother starting that game.
And you know, this game is called football, right?
Correct.
Well, last year, you know, I have a funny feeling that the kicking game lost Seattle 3 games.
You're right. I can tell you one firsthand. You beat the Redskins game. You lost that strictly off the fact that your kicker couldn't put it through the uprights. And
that game, and the Atlanta game, and the Arizona game at the end of the year.
Yep.
So you know, we got Janikowski from the Raiders now.
Yep.
And actually, our punter is actually the 5th round draft pick that we have this year. He is really something to see. So
is that the you're not the team that drafted the punter out of Texas, are you?
I believe that was, yes.
Yeah, they've been ranting and raving about that guy.
So that's somebody to rant and rave about. You know, I almost look at him like a Ray Guy kind of person that will kind of help your defense by just laying the ball somewhere deep down. So, and as far as you know, Seattle still has Bobby Wagner, and as long as he's on the defense, you know, I don't know how much I can count on Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on there yet either.
Right.
You know, I like to say if he's playing, we'd win 11 games, but I can't say that for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, towards the end of last year, you know, we didn't have Sherman or Chancellor after the Cardinal game.
The Cardinal game, right.
So, you know, even when we beat the Eagles, that was, you know, without those guys. So
that's why I still believe that y'all could win the division, because you beat, when they still had Carson Wentz, you beat them on I want to say it was a Sunday night, as a matter of fact.
It was a Sunday night.
And I thought you guys still were going to win that division. And then, of course, the CenturyLink massacre took place.
Right.
So
well, you know, I'm just going to say, in Russ, I trust. You know, that's something that, you know, last year he broke the record for most 4th down touchdowns thrown. And, you know, I just see him as being somebody who can always come back from, you know, I've just known Seahawks, even, you know, when they played playoff games, there have been like 4 of them where they could not score any points in the first half with Russell Wilson playing. And then in the second half, you know, they had 2 comebacks that were complete, and they had one against Atlanta that they took the lead 28 to 27 with less than a minute left, and then the Carolina game, which, you know, they gave up 31 points to Carolina in the first half, so 24 didn't really work out. But it's a second half team with Pete Carroll in the locker room. So,
do you think that? So you think just the Rams are going to make the playoffs from this division?
I see it as the Rams, but you know, I'm always going to be hoping for the Seahawks.
Okay.
But, you know, maybe that just depends on where they'll get with Earl Thomas.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that, man. But I appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
You have a good one.
Goodbye, Louie.
All right, so I don't feel as bad. I'm pretty sure, though, I'm going to get killed by some Cardinals fans at some point because of the record that like I said, look, you can kill me if you want. I already told you that I don't actually believe that myself, but I don't think you're going to be a good team. I do believe that in my heart of hearts. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be that good this year. I don't think they're going to be 4-12, though. Like, that's a little extreme, but I don't think you're going to be good this year. So we'll see. It's crazy because I watched the Cowboys preseason game on Sunday night the other night, and they did a sideline interview with Patrick Peterson, and they asked him what were the expectations for the team, and he said, "Man, I seen some people got us going 4-12, and that's garbage, man." And I'm thinking to myself, that would be me. He was talking to me. He's like, I don't know what the hell them people talking about. I was like, you got me. Guilty as charged. So we're going to see what happens in this division. But I'm guilty. I think that the Cardinals could be a bad team this year. So we will see. In any event, my man Nick and Knight says, what's good, Lou? I'm still trying to figure out what did Tyler Lockett do to deserve a 3-year extension worth $37.8 million. Tyler Lockett, when healthy, has been really good. You remember the first year he came onto the scene, man was returning punts and kickoffs for touchdowns. He was doing everything. And when he's healthy, he's the difference maker at the receiver position. I know you haven't been paying that much attention to Seattle, and I get it. But Tyler Lockett's actually a good football player. And it's not like he broke the bank. It's not like they're paying him $60 million on this 3-year extension, and he's getting, 32 of it guaranteed. It's a quality deal. He's 22, I think, of that 37 is guaranteed money. It's a good deal. I don't have any problems with it. What's going on, Jones? Matthew Lynch says predictions: Rams 12-4, Cardinals 7-9, 49-6-10, Seahawks 5-11. Ouch. I think Seattle's going to take a step back. I don't know if it's going to be that far of a step back. This is the thing with Tyler Lockett, too, is the Seahawks are in a position where they don't have a ton at receiver. And if this guy and this is where you want to be proactive. Let's say Tyler Lockett goes off this year because they don't have a ton of stuff, right? They're hoping that they get stuff out of the tight end position, and they hope that these backs take a little bit of the pressure off of Russell Wilson. But let's be candid. They don't have a lot of guys to get the football to. And so let's just say Tyler Lockett breaks out this year. Let's say he has 1,051 yards this year and 9 touchdowns on the season. Someone would pay him some really good money, more than what he just read up for. Now, you could flip it on its head and go in the reverse and say, well, what if he has a lackluster year and gets injured like he has done in the past and doesn't have a big season? Then what? Well, then you got him for a couple more years and you see if he can't bounce back. But they know the guy is talented. They know what he's capable of. So I didn't have a problem with the deal because you got to be proactive in the NFL. That's how you pay less. That's why the Redskins lost Kirk Cousins, because when they had a chance to pay less, they waited, and they weren't in the ballpark. So same thing with the Ravens and Joe Flacco once upon a time. Ravens wanted to pay him before. Joe was like, nah, I'll wait till after the season. Joe won the Super Bowl, and look what happened to that football team. So you want to be out in front, and that's what the Seahawks were doing with this deal. I didn't have a problem with it. Emperor Meat says, I have some concerns about the Rams linebacking core. 11-5 he has for the Rams. Niners at 8-8, Seattle at 7-9, and Cardinals at 5-11. So right now, nobody thinks the Cardinals are going to be very good. So I don't feel as bad right now. What up, Rodney Ray? Emperor Meat says, I absolutely detest how people don't talk about DJ31 when it comes to the top running backs. I guess when you play in Arizona, you get no recognition at all from the media. I was the one. I was at the front of the fan club of David Johnson when he first came into the league. The first 2 years, as a matter of fact, I was making sure everybody and anybody, when I did my rookie wall, I was telling everybody, man, this guy out in Arizona, David Johnson, I wanted the Redskins to select him out of northern Iowa. I was upset when they didn't select him because I knew just how good this guy could be, and I was really disappointed that they didn't select him. And in his rookie season, he was doing some phenomenal, extraordinary things, and I made sure that everybody knew how good David Johnson was. And in the next year, when he was catching a football at such a high clip, I was like, man, this guy is stupid good. I thought he was going to do the 1,000 thing, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. And I think he actually might have done that. And I thought he was going to have 100 catches at that. I don't think he made it to 100 grabs, but I think he eclipsed 1,000 yards. And it's so hard to do that as a running back. But that's how big of a part of the offense he was. Guy is so good. And it's so easy to kind of slip him in the back of the line because you didn't see him last year. You know, and that's what we are. We're a here and now society. And I'm guilty of being one of those guys that was like, David Johnson. Who the hell is that? Oh, David Johnson. Yeah. He didn't play all last year. He played the first game of the season, didn't play another game. So I need to see it again just to be refreshed at what this guy is. But I know the guy's good. And I think I'm sleeping on his ability to come in and be good for about 3 or 4 wins by himself. Ricky L says, my prediction on the Cardinals is that BE will pick them to win every week. Yes, that is a fact. Okay, that is a factual statement. Absolutely. Double A says, Skull. Love the show, Louie. F ESPN, you're more knowledgeable and entertaining. Hey, I appreciate that, man. And I didn't see that y'all was trying to get a Skull chant at the end, man. Y'all must have chimed in with that at the very end. I missed that one. Rodney Ray says, Jimmy G's release in Spiral is amazing. Also, if the Rams re-sign Aaron Donald, then it's their division to lose. They'll re-sign him. They're not stupid. Unlike the Raiders, they know what's at stake. They know what they need to do. They're going to get it done. And yes, I think that's part of the thing that mesmerizes me with Jimmy G, pause, is the fact that, man, that release is so quick. Everything is so tight and compacted. The release is so lightning quick. The ball comes out so tight. It's a crisp spiral. Every time he throws it, I'm like, that looks good, man. It looks good out of the hand. You know what I mean? Sort of like a Steph Curry jumper. You're like, man, that shit looks good out of the hand. Even if it's a brick, it just looks good coming out of Steph's hand. And you expect it to go in. That's how I feel with Jimmy G. Like, that looks like a completion. And he could be 4 yards off the mark. And I'm like, damn, well, that was a tight-ass spot. That was a pretty-ass incompletion. Like, he's got the demeanor of a Tom Brady. You could tell he's gotten some of Tom's swag. But he's got it in a way that he's transformed it into his own swag. You know what I mean? So Jimmy just has this aura about him that's sucking everybody in, including me. Pause. But I still think they're not ready yet. So we'll see what happens with the 49ers. Nick Riley says, I swear I thought they were going to do him dirty. I know you did. Nick also says, in all honesty, fam, I thought he still got underpaid. Hey, look, the man is the highest paid player in league history in terms of guaranteed money. He set the new bar. So we'll see what happens now with quarterbacks moving forward. Everybody's going to want to get a hundo guaranteed, and everybody's not worth it. John Perez says, after all the good players on defense were let go, I don't believe for 1 second the Seahawks will be any good, even with Russell Wilson. A lot of people are starting to go in that direction. I'm not quite there yet where they're going to stink like 5-11. I seen somebody have them going 5-11. I think it was my man Matthew. I don't think they're going to stink that bad, but they're going in the wrong direction. I do feel that way. John Perez says, Cardinals are looking good, and I have a feeling Josh Rosen is going to start week 1. No, he's not going to start week 1. Sam Bradford isn't playing in preseason game number 4, and he's healthy, so he's your starter. And Rosen hurt himself in practice. He didn't even play in the third preseason game versus the Cowboys. He banged his thumb on, or one of his fingers on the helmet of one of the players, and so he didn't play. He hurt himself, which that's the story of Josh Rosen. So We're going to see. Archangel says, I think the Cards could be a sneaky team this year that I really believe that. And they could sneak up on some people, including myself. So it wouldn't shock me. Emperor Meat says, how do you feel about your boy Jimmy GQ? And how do you think he will do? And also, do you think Jerick McKinnon can actually be a feature back? He got injured. I was really looking forward to seeing him in the preseason, and he got injured. And so I'm not really too sure about what to expect. But you know how I feel about Jerick McKinnon, man. Shh. Don't tell nobody about the secret weapon known as Jerick McKinnon. Y'all know I think the guy is a hell of a football player. I don't know if he's a feature back, though. You know, I liked him in that third down, change of pace type of role. So now I think he's going to get a little bit more of the load in San Francisco. Pause. So we'll see what happens, man. I have confidence in both Jimmy G and in Jerick McKinnon. But we'll see if both J and J, if the double J connection can get it popping in San Francisco or not. Let's go to the next comment. Netzel Toy 01 says, Seahawks would have been 11-5 if not for Blair Walsh. Fair point. And Rob called in and pretty much eloquently addressed that with the field goal kicking. I can attest to that. I mean, I literally watched you piss away a game versus the Redskins because Blair Walsh missed 3 field goals. So I get it. I understand that this team was probably better than their 8-8 record or 9-7 record indicated last season. Nonetheless, I think you're going in the wrong direction this year. Different football team. You lost a lot of talent on defense. So we're going to see what happens. Phone is ringing, so I'm going to answer it. You're on live with your man, Louie Tee. Who am I speaking with?
It's Nick. Yo, what's good, Lou?
What's going on, Nick and Knight?
Not much. You're like, you were just talking about how you had confidence in Jerick McKinnon. I always like Jerick McKinnon, obviously, because he played for us, but I don't like him as
a feature
as
back.
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that's going to get you about 15, 17 touches on the ground, and you could throw it to him about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But I feel like they think he could be a feature back. I think if you do that, he's going to end up getting injured, to be honest.
I'm with you on that one. I think that Jerick McKinnon is more of a third down, change of pace type of back. And that's what I kind of alluded to. I want to see him get some more touches and see how he handles it. The one thing I don't like is when we pigeonhole running backs that are a little bit smaller and say, hey, you can't handle the load and you're going to get hurt, which generally we're right. And that's why teams don't want to put them in those types of situations, i.e. Chris Thompson in Washington. We want Chris Thompson to touch it as much as possible, but we're like, hey, might want to get us a feature back and make sure we keep Chris Thompson. Because everyone, the media is always like, well, Chris Thompson's your best running back. Once you give him the ball more, nah, we good. Because if we give it to him more, he's probably going to get hurt. And what does Chris Thompson usually do? Get hurt. So
I felt like now that we got like Dalvin back, even though I feel like he could do the same things that he did. And like I was saying, the Mike Boone I was talking about yesterday, I feel like he could do the same thing as Jerick McKinnon was doing. And he wanted a lot more money. That's why we let him walk.
Right.
Trying to pay him that. Yeah.
Right. He knew he could get more on the open market.
As for the 49ers, my biggest question mark was like outside of Marquise Goodwin and Kittle, I don't like any of their other options.
You don't like Pierre Garçon?
I feel like he old. I don't really like him no more.
Man, Pierre still can ball, man. I watched him in the preseason game the other day. Pierre caught a slant and was murking on them dudes, man, against the Colts. So he still got something left, man. Pierre still can get the job done, man. I take Pierre on my team any day.
As for the records, though, I had the.
You don't like Dante Pettis?
I do, but I'm saying like, you want him to be like the number 2. He ain't gonna be the number 2 right away.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of guys that got to grow in the roles. I like the Trent Taylor kid that they drafted last year out of La Tech.
I actually wanted us to draft Pettis. I like his special teams ability is good too.
Yeah. Yep.
But for the records, I had the Rams at 10-6.
Mm-hmm.
I got the 49ers at 8-8.
Okay.
Got the Seahawks at 7-9. And honestly, just like you with the Cards, I wanted to give them more wins.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't do it. I got them at like 5-11.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like the third person that's had them at 5-11, and the bad part is like you don't think they're 5-11 football team, but you look at the schedule and you're like, bro, I want to give you a win here, but I just can't. Like, you know, I'm not one of these people that I'll give the 49ers a win and give the Seahawks a win. You know what I mean?
I was trying to make them like 8-8, just like the 49ers, but I just couldn't do it.
You can't do it, man. You can't do it. And the thing I love is that I make myself accountable by doing it on the platform, because I can't tell y'all, oh yeah, they're gonna lose this game in Jacksonville and then turn around and then you know I got both teams winning the game. You know what I mean? Y'all will call me out on that. So it is what it is. They 4-12, bro. I mean, there ain't nothing I can do about that.
I feel like they're only as good as David Johnson's health too. Like, you don't even know if he's gonna stay healthy too.
I think he's gonna stay healthy this year, man. It's not like he tore his ACL. It was his hand. You know what I mean? So I expect him to be back.
Didn't he just dislocate it too? He didn't even like break it, right?
I think it was something like that. And they thought he would be back. Remember, they thought he was going to be back. And because the season kind of went to hell in a handbasket, they were just like, hey, Dave, don't even worry about it.
I freaking broke my wrist my junior year, but I had to have surgery on it. So I got like a plate and some pins in mine, and it took a long time. But I don't feel like a dislocated one would take that long. That was weird.
Yeah. So, but you know, if you're a running back, you have to have your joint heal all the way.
Yeah, you got to.
You know what I mean? You getting hit on your hand almost on every play.
Yeah, use it to balance. Yeah.
Right. So it's no way you can't. You got to allow that thing to heal all the way. Like, it ain't even one of those. Yeah, let it heal 80% and come back. So.
Like, honestly, for like the whole division, I really don't like the depth at wide receiver for any of the teams. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I like the Rams.
The Rams definitely like above everybody else. Like,
yeah, I like the Rams, and I don't have a problem with San Francisco's, even though I still think they don't have a number one wide receiver. They got enough stuff to get by, you know, and
what kind of stats do you think like Garoppolo is going to put up? Like, what do you think his number is going to be? I'm
looking at anywhere if his targets stay healthy, because we know Goodwin will get hurt and miss 4 to 6 weeks on you on a hamstring, no problem. You know, easy money. You know, he's one of them expensive sports cars that I talk about, where, you know, it don't take much for them boys to have to go into the shop. And, you know, with them expensive cars, it don't take much for them boys to miss a couple weeks, you know, with a little hammy or something. They got to go back in the shop.
Honestly, it reminds me of Diggs. Diggs always going to miss like 2 games, 3 games all the time, too. Yeah,
it don't take much. Them explosive dudes, they'll tweak something on you quick. But if guys are able to stay, and like I told you with this, I've been really assuming health. I look at Jimmy as in Kyle Shanahan's offense, please. Jimmy is easily going to throw for 38 to 4,300. Jimmy will throw for 23 to 27 touchdowns. And Jimmy will have 13 to 15 INT, because he's going to sling it and he's going to make some mistakes. He's going to get picked off a couple times.
I was thinking like low 20s, maybe like mid 25 touchdowns, which is damn good. But I was like, for yards, I was thinking like 3,300, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So you're thinking low threes on the passing yards. Yeah. See, if dudes stay healthy and make plays, that's going to be up around 4,000 with Kyle Shanahan, because they're going to run it, and then they're going to go play action fake, and with the kind of speed that they got, they're going to push the football vertically.
And that boy is nice.
Nice. And he dropped them in the bucket down the field. So,
he throwing some darts.
Man, he does. And that's why I think if they stay relatively healthy at receiver and they can protect him up front along the offensive line, that boy's going to throw for damn near 4,000.
Honestly, like another thing with like the Rams, like I was hyped for them when they got Marcus Peters. Like, that's my boy. I always like Marcus Peters, but like he's like the weirdest damn player. One minute he could be getting you a pick six, next minute he getting burned for a touchdown.
He nosy. That's why. You know, when you as greedy as he is, you can get beat.
He tries to jump everything. Like,
right, everything, and that's why he get beat on double moves, because he's so damn greedy.
Yeah.
So he's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is exactly what you said, because it's a gift and a curse. You know, he can jump like something.
There's like no in between. It's either he getting you an
it's feast or famine.
Or giving up the touchdown.
Yep. Yeah, it's feast or famine with him. Either he gonna jump something and go the other way with it, or he gonna bite. He gonna bite down on something and get beat bad. So you gotta take the good with the bad with him. And then, not to mention, you know, he a head case. So at any point, he could lose it.
Yeah, he really kicked the football in the stands. That had me dying. I was laughing. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. He at any point he could lose it, man.
He's been that way since college, though.
Hell yeah. I mean, that was one of the reasons why.
Honestly, that was the why we didn't draft him. I think
it was you're not the only team that passed on him because of that.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, man, it's always a pleasure, bro.
Be easy, bro.
Take it easy, man. No doubt. All right, so Nick, like myself, has the Rams winning the division and also has the Cardinals finishing in last place. Who knew? So I felt bad, and I still do, but I don't feel as bad. Archangel says, see Chicken sign Lockett to a big deal today, and he got the backup QB for A-Rod. Yep. Seahawks extended Tyler Lockett 3 years, I think it was $37.8 million. I think like 22 of it or so is guaranteed money. And then the Packers, traded for, or not the Packers, the New Orleans Saints traded for Teddy Bridgewater. That was a big story today. They finally realized, this whole backup quarterback thing not working out the way that we intended. Taysom Hill, not good. So, let's get Teddy Bridgewater for $1 million. Are the Jets geniuses or what? They signed Teddy to a 1-year, $1 million deal and flip him for a 3rd-round pick. If that's not winning, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Reese says, Lou, I came across the first video I ever saw of you and then rewatched it. Time flies, brother. Just wanted to say much love and respect. It's crazy how far back we go. It is, Reed, man, and I appreciate your support every step of the way. You've been there. You were one of the first, man. You and my man Flash were among my first subscribers and people that would talk and go back and forth with me, and it's been fun, man. It really has been. Reese says, everyone counting Seattle out. I think they can still be a formidable team. I wouldn't count them out yet either. 8-8 is not out because, ball bounces their way. 10-6 could be knocking on the door, and 10-6 could be enough to get into the playoffs in the NFC backdoor style. And if you get in, you got a shot. Got a shot. J Cam Man 99 says so many good teams in this division. He says so many good divisions. This one seems good to me. All teams except perhaps Arizona. I have the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers going to the playoffs. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, J Cam Man. Just how good do you think these teams are going to be? I need you to put numbers to that, bruh. Because did you see their schedule? You got all of these teams going to the playoffs? Playoffs? Yeah, the man said playoffs for everybody in the division except Arizona. What? What? I need an explanation, J-Cam, man. I need you to either call in and explain yourself, or I need you to type it in to the chat discussion, and I need records. I need numbers, okay? I can't fathom 3 teams coming out of this division. No way. I need you to explain yourself. Nick Riley says, I don't see my squad losing to the Seahawks, doing us dirty, or our fans travel well. You can see the 12-man doing the skull chant. Hey, go ahead, man. And that's pretty neat how y'all got the emoji. That's for praying, but you know how they slap their hands together when they go skull. So that's what they use it as. That's pretty clever, man. Like that. J. Cam Man says, Seahawks have Russell Wilson. He has been so successful, I can't imagine Seattle going 8-8. You're right. He has been successful. They went 9-7 last year. Granted, I know they missed some field goals last year, but this is a much tougher schedule than last year's schedule where they got to play the AFC South. with Jacoby Brissett and Nacho Man Tommy Savage and company. It's a totally different animal. Now, I think the Seahawks got the Texans when they still had Deshaun Watson, because I think they had a shootout in Seattle. So, anyway, Slip Ammo says, did you just call the 2017 Titans and Jags bums? I reference to their whole division as garbage. Yeah, I did. The Jags, if I'm not mistaken, they went to Arizona and lost. And if I'm also not mistaken, Tennessee went to Arizona and lost. Mind you, Tennessee and Jacksonville both were playoff teams. And mind you, Arizona was funky last year at 8-8. And both of those teams lost to Arizona. So, yeah, I did reference both of those teams because I was really talking about the entire division as bums. Yes, Tennessee was up and down. Jacksonville, you didn't know what you were going to get from week to week with them. The defense was good, but the offense is still garbage now. They got Fournette, and that's good enough if you don't turn it over to win you 8 games. And they're going to need special teams to win them a game, and they're going to need Blake to step up in a game. And, yeah, you'll get to 10 if you can do those things. I don't have them getting to 10 this year, though. So, Evan Higgins says, Shannon and Jimmy G. Rodney, or he says Shanahan. That's what he meant. Shanahan and Jimmy G doing work. I like it. I like it a lot. I think those boys are going to put some work together, man. They're going to put in some work, and I'm telling you right now, they're going to make some beautiful music together, man. That's why they went out, traded for the man, and then broke him off something proper without even seeing a full season and a full body of work. They said, Jimmy, this is enough. You've shown us enough. Hey, you, get the checkbook out, man. Stroke this man a check. Stop playing. Rodney Ray says he's got the Rams at 10-6, Cardinals at 7-9, or excuse me, Seahawks at 7-9, Cardinals at 6-10, and the 49ers at 8-8. So he's got the Niners finishing second in the division. He's buying the Jimmy G hype as well. Nick Riley says Rams 10-6, Niners 8-8. Not buying into the hype, but still solid team. Seahawks 7-9. And the Cards 5-11. Could be anywhere from 7 to 8 wins. I just couldn't do it, as he referenced on the call that we had. I cannot with y'all, man. I cannot do it. Double A says my predictions: 49ers 10-6. Yikes. Rams 8-8. Whoa. Cardinals 7-9, Seattle 5-11. So we're getting all kinds of different, and that's what I told you. This division is hard to read. You know, we got all kinds of stuff coming. People think the Niners are actually going to be good. People think the Seahawks are going to be really bad. Some people think the Seahawks are going to be good enough to qualify for the playoffs. I don't think anybody's giving Arizona a chance. I haven't seen one winning record for Arizona. It's either been 8-8 best case scenario, or 4-12 is the worst, which was me. But most people have them going either 5-11 or 7-9 or 6-10, somewhere in that 5-11 to 7-9 range. Rodney Ray says, did you all hear the 49ers try to go after Tom Brady? That Pats laughed at them and the 49ers said it didn't hurt to try. You gotta try things, you know. All they can say is no, you know, or in that case, laugh at you. What else can they? You can't do nothing. Can't hurt you. Gotta ask. You won't know unless you ask. You know, I was once told there is no such thing as a stupid question. So, there it is. Double A says, I don't believe in super teams like the Rams. Too much locker room cancer. If they start to slide, it'll get ugly fast. I do believe in that sentiment that when you have too many uber personalities and big egos in a locker room, if shit doesn't go right, it will go south fast. And that whole, we saw it with the Eagles and the Dream Team. We saw it with the 2000 Redskins. You can't have that kind, you can't put that kind of team together. Although this is a little different with the Rams. I don't think that they have done anything egregious here with the moves that they've made. I just think that They do have a lot of A-type personalities, and if things don't go their way, it could get ugly in that Rams locker room. So we will see. Emperor Meat says, how much guaranteed money do you think Aaron Donald gets overall? I know Von Miller is the highest QB at 70 mil guaranteed. Whatever the highest is, he'll get more than that. So we'll leave it at that. I don't know the exact amounts for the guys that have come before him, but he wants to be paid like an edge rusher. Problem is he's a defensive tackle, and defensive tackles generally don't get paid that much money. So unless he's resetting that market, which I think he's going to feel like that's not enough, I think he's looking for, and I think that's probably where the disconnect is. The Rams are saying, hey, you're a defensive tackle. Let us pay you defensive tackle money. And he's like, yeah, I hear you, but I get sack totals like an edge rusher, so I want money like those guys. So I think that's where the disconnect is. But when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, you want as much money as you can get, and you want as much of it as you can possibly get guaranteed. So the going rate used to be 40% of your deal, what you wanted it guaranteed. So if you were getting a deal for 100 mil, you wanted 40 of it guaranteed. Man, they've shattered that now. We're getting closer and closer to guys getting 65, 70% of their deal guaranteed. I mean, Rodgers, what was that, 134 and 100 of it guaranteed? So you're basically looking at a deal that's what, about 70%? That's about 70%. Let me pull up my calculator real quick. That's about 70% though. 134 divided by 100, that's about 70%. It is, let's see. It is, man, let's keep typing it in wrong. Here it is. It is 74%. So basically 75% of his deal was guaranteed. So we're getting closer and closer to these deals being fully guaranteed, and that's what you want. That's what these agents have been pushing for. That's what these players have been pushing for. So kudos to Aaron Rodgers for breaking the bank. Well deserved. Moving right along. Archangel says, I heard Alfred Morris looks good and may end up stealing some of McKinnon's time, especially in Shanahan, since Shanahan and Alfred got history. I just feel like they need someone else to offset Jerick McKinnon. He's not a every down back. Like I said, he's a change of pace, and Alfred Morris can run that stretch just as good. And Alfred looked good in Dallas. He lost weight. He was in the best shape of his career. Alfred looks good, or he did look good in Dallas, and if he's in that same shape, I think Alfred Morris can be a player for them. And Shanahan, he's a guy that I think can, much like his dad, he can get guys to run for 1,000 yards. So we'll see what happens. That'll be a nice little 1-2 punch. Because I really don't care for any of the other backs. I really thought, and I'm really disappointed, I thought Joe Williams would be a lot better in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But I've never seen him open up yet. He's not been able to get loose as Joe Williams. I thought he was going to be stupid good for Kyle Shanahan with that 4.3 speed. Black Al B says, what it do, Lou? Green Bay gonna end up looking stupid for giving Rodgers that money. I think he's injury prone now. And I know. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is worth that kind of money. Aaron Rodgers, when healthy, is the best in the business. And yeah, he's had a couple of injury-filled seasons of late, but there are a bunch of other seasons where the guy didn't miss a snap. And when he's healthy, you can put Green Bay down for double-digit wins. And that's all off the strength of Aaron Rodgers. So, and he's still got a good 6, 7, maybe even 8 years of football left in him. The way guys are playing into their 40s now, please. Matthew Lynch says, Michael Kendricks is released. I wouldn't mind the Skins picking him up. You know he got released because he got caught with and bagged for insider trading, right? Like, that man might be going to prison. I don't know if he's going to latch on with another team or not. So you can't be making no kind of mistakes. It is funny because they just featured him on Hard Knocks, and he gets popped for insider trading. Yikes. What's up, Ree? Ree says, could Todd Gurley ever duplicate last season? Sure he could. We all know how good Todd Gurley can be. We saw those down years where there wasn't any offensive line blocking. There was no quarterback play. And so you were able to just stack the box and go after him. But Todd Gurley is such a good football player. He really is. And his ability to catch it out of the backfield and run it makes him one of the premier backs in this league, along with, of course, Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson. Those are your triple threat backs that can do it all. Can protect in the pass game, can catch it out of the backfield, and can run it. And there are not many triple threats. I think another guy trying to get himself into that conversation is the Chargers running back Melvin Gordon III. I want to see him stay healthy for a full season, and then I want to see him be the guy that I think everyone thinks he's capable of being. J. Camman says, I'm at the house sitting right now. I'm house sitting right now. He says, I don't have my number right in front of me, but I will tell you that I don't believe the AFC West is going to be good this year. Plus, the NFC North has Chicago and Detroit. You're speaking of their schedule. Yes, they have the AFC West, and I agree with you. I don't think it's a very good division either, which you will find out a little bit later on tonight. However, they still have some tough games, and don't look at Chicago and Detroit as pushovers. So I still think that there's going to be some games that you don't expect them to lose that they ultimately do end up losing. But I've got a call. I'm going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie Tee. Who am I speaking with?
B.E.
Who?
B.E.
What's going on, B.E.? We've been waiting for this call for the longest, man. We thought you weren't here tonight.
I'm on break right now at work.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, so first two.
Hey, go ahead, man. I know what's coming, so go ahead and give it to me.
To all the Niner fans, you ain't winning the division. Just because you have Jimmy, your defense still isn't top tier, and your offensive line still isn't good, and you don't really have a run game. Second, Seattle, they're going downhill real quick. All they have is Russell Wilson. Their offensive line is complete garbage. I would say maybe one of the worst in the NFL in general.
Right.
They don't. We know what Rashard Penny did in college, but we don't know what he could do in the NFL. The receivers are okay outside of Doug Baldwin, and their defense is just falling apart massively. No Sherman, no it's just going downhill fast. Yeah. The Rams are still good. Like, they need to just pay Aaron Donald already. Like, that's going to be long and drawn.
Right.
Their offensive line, I think, could use a little work. They have Andrew Whitworth, but he's up there in age.
Right.
And we know what Jared Goff is. So I feel the Rams are going all in this year with what they did. Mm-hmm. I do feel the Rams are the favorite in the NFC West. Now they're the Cardinals. To everybody saying the Cardinals are going to do 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins, the Cardinals are garbage. Garbage offensive line last year. We had 3 quarterbacks. Nobody could catch the ball outside of Larry Fitzgerald. Mm-hmm. No David Johnson. Mm-hmm. No Marcus Golden, and our defense was still really good. And we went 8-8.
Right.
New offensive line. David Johnson back. We have hopefully better receivers outside of Larry Fitzgerald.
Yep.
And our defense looks much improved as we saw what we did to the Cowgirls on Sunday. And we have Bradford, which, yes, Bradford isn't good, or he's not great, but he's better than the 3 bimbos we had last season.
Right.
My record prediction, the 49ers go 6-10.
Okay.
Seattle 8-8.
Okay.
And the Rams and Cardinals tie at 11-5.
All right. So I was waiting for this call, man. I was waiting for you to come here and set the record straight and tell us why the Cardinals were gonna find a way to have a shot in this division. I looked at the schedule and I said, man, this is crazy because I know this team is much better than 4-12, which is what I have them going. I said David Johnson himself.
Going 4-12.
I got you going 4-12, bro. I said the card. I thought that's why you called in because you was gonna come and kill me. Okay, but
no, it's okay.
I don't. If you watch the video, and I know you'll get a chance.
Just do that week 1, you guys.
I got you beating us week 1. We can't.
Yeah, as I said, David Johnson will just kill you guys for me.
David Johnson is good for 3 or 4 wins by himself, and if you watch the video, which I know you'll go back and watch it, I prefaced everything that I said with I don't believe what I'm about to say, because you're a much better team than 4-12, and I pretty much said what you said, which is they weren't a good team last year, and they still won 8 games.
Exactly.
So,
with 3 bimbos at quarterback.
Now, granted, the schedule was a lot softer last year than it is this year. I think this year's schedule is a little bit tougher. I think the AFC West is not a good division, which you have them, but you still got to play your own division, and you still got to play the NFC North, which I think is a really good division. So we'll see what happens.
The NFC North, outside of the Packers and Cowboys, outside the Packers and Vikings, are winnable.
They are. They're very winnable games, but don't sleep on the Bears. And the Lions, you never know which Lions team is going to show up. If you get bad Lions, you should win. You get good Lions, you could easily lose that football game as well. So all in all, I expected you to come up here and tell me that your team was going to have a shot to win this division. That's exactly what you did. Your predictions aren't far off from everybody else's except your team. Everybody else has your team being pretty bad this year. You're the first person to actually say the Cardinals were going to win double-digit games. No one had the Cardinals winning more than 7 games. No one even had the Cardinals going 8-8 so far. Tonight.
They could doubt us. They could doubt us.
So we will see. But ABE, I appreciate you chiming in. We were looking forward to that. We needed that. And we'll see what happens with the Arizona Cardinals in 2018, man. You have a good one, man.
And one more thing.
Yep.
David Johnson is better than Todd Gurley. All the Rams fans out there.
I don't know about that one, BE. You have a hell of an argument on your hands, though. Both of them are exceptional football players, but
oh yeah, they both are.
So, but that's an argument for another day. But they're both top 3 backs in this league when healthy. So, ABE, always great to chop it up with you, man. Go back to work. Don't be getting in trouble sneaking away on a break to call in, man.
I'm on my lunch break.
Oh, so you good? Appreciate you chiming in on the lunch break, man. Get you something to eat.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, man. That's our guy, BE. We've been waiting for BE to chime in. You know he's a huge Cardinals fan, so it's good to hear from BE. And it's funny because Nick just brought him up. Was like, man, I was really hoping to hear from BE. And there you go. You spoke him up. J Cam Man says, I could easily be wrong. The fun part about this time of the year is that it's so tough to predict the season. Anything is possible. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Archangel says, Rams 11-5, Niners 10 or 9 wins, Cards 9-7, and Sea Chickens 7-9. We talking about in football, not basketball. Double A says Eagles released Michael Kendricks just now. Well, they had already released Michael Kendricks a long time ago. He was signed by the Browns. The Browns just released Michael Kendricks because of the insider trading situation that he's been entangled in. So, okay. So I see you just corrected that. Yeah, the Browns released it. Yes. Nitzel's Toy says Justin Coleman is the most underrated nickel corner in the league, but I'm just worried about the Seahawks are going to generate turnovers. If they can get to the quarterback, which I don't know if they can do because I don't see anybody else getting pressure other than the Michigan edge rusher, Frank Clark. So that's the thing that scares me is like, how are you going to get to the quarterback? If you can get to the quarterback, you might be able to generate some turnovers. But got to get to the quarterback. I don't know if they're going to be capable of doing that or not. So we'll see what happens with the Seahawks this year and if they're able to do it or not. Let's see. Angry Birds of Chaos says, if Watson is legit, how much more money do you think he gets on a contract, and what do you think about Clowney's progression? Hard to say. Watson he's playing in his second year in the league, so hard to really say. We'll see what happens, but obviously whoever's next in line, their contract is going to be bigger than the guy that came before them. So the money is only going to go up. You know, the NFL, they're making money hand over fist. These deals that they have with these networks, they're making a whole bunch of money. So, you know, these deals are only going to get more and more lucrative in nature. And in terms of Clowney, just him being healthy over the last couple of years, he's gotten so much better just because he's been on the field. And so he's going to get broken off here shortly as well. What year are we in with Clowney? Is this year 4 we're going into, or is it year 5? Either way, they're going to pick up the 5th-year option, and they're going to try to string that out as long as possible because they know they're going to have to pay that man when his deal is up. Double A says, yeah, Kendricks is done. Too bad. He's a solid linebacker. His brother is better, though. Facts. All facts. But he was a good enough linebacker to play in this league, and it sucks that he got stupid greedy, and now he's got to pay. And I never can understand that. You get so greedy that you're willing to go to jail for the very thing that you were trying to get more of. I don't get it. I don't understand. Double A says, B3 says, insider trading is usually a fine. Lying to the feds is the real problem. I've always told my kids and anybody that would listen, it's not usually the act that gets you in the most trouble. It's the cover-up that gets you in the most trouble. Look, we all make mistakes. Don't lie to me, man, okay? If you make a mistake, sometimes you just got to man up and say, yeah, that was me. I effed up. You know, trying to lie about it, cover your tracks, that's how you get in the most trouble. Because now you making more people have to do more work. Now I'm pissed off because I haven't seen my kids in 4 days because I've been having to do all this paperwork and having to do all this detective work to track down all of the shady shit you've been doing. You got to pay for this shit. You got to pay. So, anyway. Reese says, damn, Lou, looks like it could be the stony lonesome for Michael Kendricks. It looks like it. It definitely looks like he is going into the cell, bruh. We'll see what happens. You got a lot of money. Worst case scenario, he'll end up with some Martha Stewart Fed time, and yeah, he'll be in one of those country club facilities, and he'll be all right. You're hoping. If you're Michael Kendricks. Double A says, I got the cards at 7 and 9, but I think this is the year before the year of the cards. Really think Rosen is going to be really, really good. I do too, if he can stay healthy. I do too. Nick Riley says, hell, I will settle that running back combo. AP in his prime is better than both of them. AP couldn't catch though. But AP as a dynamic running back, period, yeah, he's a Hall of Fame back. Those guys have the potential to be Hall of Fame backs, but AP couldn't catch claps in a whorehouse. That's not what he did. But if you're just talking dynamic runner, yeah, that's Adrian Peterson all day. That's AD. But DJ and Todd Gurley are different specimens because of their ability to catch it out of the backfield. J. Camman says, Chicago and Detroit, I agree, definitely better than most people think, but I also don't believe Green Bay and Minnesota are going to be as good as most people think. I see where you're going with that. I can see where you're going with that for sure. B says, the second I saw this stream, I called in and had to set all you Ram and fans, Seattle fans, and Niner fans straight. And that you did, BE. That you did. Reese says, at least Michael Kendricks didn't hurt himself or anybody else. While that's true, we can't start congratulating people for not hurting anybody else or themselves. Like, as a society, we have to be a little bit more. We got to be a little bit more harsh on people, and we have to be more accountable. And we can't start congratulating people for not hurting somebody else or themselves. Like, I know it's not safe to play at a Madden tournament anymore. Like, that's what we've been reduced to in this nation, that we can't even go to a Madden tournament and bust somebody's ass and talk trash in the process for fearing of losing your life. However, we can't start to congratulate people for not hurting somebody or hurting themselves. That's the whole participation trophy argument. I don't want the juice box and the bag of chips and the gold medal because you participated. It's not how it works. So, anyway. Angry Bird of Chaos says, I think the Rams are like the Vikings. They will win the division, but rivals Packers and Niners, Packers are the Niners, or in this case, the Niners are the Packers, will make it further in the playoff. Your thoughts? I don't think the Niners are making it to the playoffs. So, I'll stop you right there in your tracks. Don't think the Packers and the Niners are the same. They're not the same in this analogy. If anybody, it would have been Seattle maybe, but not the 49ers. Or maybe even Arizona, as my man B.E. called in and said so eloquently. But to make a long story short, I don't think that the Niners are going to make the playoffs. And the Packers do have the chance to go further in the playoffs than that of the Minnesota Vikings. I do think that is legit. Double A says, I can't wait to watch AD tear it up for your Skins. 1,000 yards plus if he's used correctly. I think he's going to get the rock. So I'm excited too, man. I think the guy's got another act in him and another chapter to the book of AD in DC. So I'm looking forward to it as well. BE says, by the way, to everyone, I'm winning the pick'em this year, so you need to show up. So no need to show up, he says. So a little bit of trash talk. I like it. I like it a lot. No, you're not, BE. I'm coming back for what's rightfully mine this year, man. Know that. So, Reese says, I hear you, Lou. Just saying it's a breath of fresh air that nobody was hurt. I feel you on that. I do feel you on that. But that's going to do it. No more calls. No more comments. Nick Riley did say, this man talking crazy. Packers aren't making it further than my Vikings. I will put some blue faces down on it. Slip Ammo says, do the Skins even have a good line for AP to run through? Yeah, we do. The tight ends don't necessarily block as good, but the thing about elite backs is that they make you right even when you're wrong. And our offensive line, by itself, is good enough. We got some bullies up front. Trent Williams, Brandon Sheriff, Morgan Moses have nothing but the utmost confidence in their ability to get it done. Chase Rouillet as a second-year center, I think is going to be a stud. Even Sean Laval isn't that bad in the run game. So, anyway, that's it. Angry Bird says, your Redskins should have went after Jimmy G instead of dealing with check down Alex. They weren't going to pay Jimmy G. If they weren't going to pay Kirk Cousins, you really think they were going to pay Jimmy G the money that he ended up getting from San Francisco? No chance. No chance in hell. But that's going to do it for the NFC West breakdown. I thank you guys for joining me on this breakdown. We'll come back at the bottom of the hour, 10 o'clock, and we'll jump into the AFC West division. I'm just going to tell you right now as a precursor, I do not think that is a good division. As a matter of fact, I think it's the worst division in all of football, just so you know. So I hope many of you come back and join me for that one as well. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and start to prepare for that live stream, as it is the last division that we have to knock down in this series. So I'll come back and we'll chop it up and we'll talk AFC West football. And so remember, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network if you haven't already done so, and check out the podcast. We'll be back with that podcast during week one on Wednesdays every week. Louie Tee Network podcast, available on iTunes, available on Stitcher, available on Google Music Play, available on the website louietnetwork.net. Speaking of louietnetwork.net, I'm going to have some videos coming out. I'm done. I finally finished everything except the fantasy. I'll be done with that tomorrow. And so I'll have the video out tomorrow for the Survivor pool, for the winners and losers, and the weekly pool. All will be up tomorrow. We'll be doing that live. So join me for that as well. And we'll have the fantasy out tomorrow as well, too. So tomorrow will be a very busy day here on the Louie Tee Network. So make sure you tune in for that. I'm your man, Louie Tee, though, signing off. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I'll be back a little bit later on to finish up this series with the AFC West. I'll see you later on. Have a good one.
Louie Tee Network.